As we reported, President Biden says he is hoping for an agreement on his spending bill this week before he goes overseas. Of course, the actual timeline is up to Congress. For more on that angle, we go to CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killion in Washington. Hi, Nicole. So we heard the White House view. What is the word in Congress about how the negotiations with President Biden and Senators Schumer and Manchin are going?
Well, we're still waiting to find out. Obviously, you have members coming back here to the Capitol, both in the House and the Senate this afternoon. And so already there are camera crews staked outside of Joe Manchin's office, anxiously awaiting his take on the talks. What we can say is that, obviously, as Adam pointed out, the Speaker's office has made clear that they would like to move ahead with a vote on at least the bipartisan infrastructure package, that smaller package dealing with roads, bridges, broadband, rail, and other provisions by the middle of this week. That's because other transportation funding expires by the end of the month. So they always have this October 31st deadline. That being said, in terms of talking to some affiliated with the Progressive Caucus, some sources there tell me that, look, their position is still the same in terms of wanting a reconciliation vote or a vote on this larger social spending package first in the Senate. Short of that, they still want some type of ironclad agreement to ensure that there is no shift or that the bill isn't gutted further if they don't have some sense of assurance that things will hold. So the source I spoke to said they're not sure if this framework agreement, if there is one this week, kind of will meet that threshold. So we will have to wait and see. I mean, that being said, moderates like Josh Gottheimer, who has been very much a proponent of moving ahead with this infrastructure bill, told me late last week that he believes that this vote will happen on time, that it will not be pushed back further as it was last month. So, depends who you talk to is the short answer. But certainly, Democratic leaders would like to see the train move forward on this if they can this week.
And Nicole, Democratic Senator Kyrsten Sinema has also held up a lot of the elements in the president's plan, but she was not a part of these discussions. Where does she stand on these negotiations?
Well, we know that she has had some reservations with respect to using a hike in corporate taxes as a means to pay for this social spending package ultimately. And so now Democrats are having to get creative in terms of how they will pay for this plan, even if it is pared down from that $3.5 trillion price tag. So one idea that has been floated is this idea of a wealth tax where people making in excess of $1 billion would face some type of tax hike. Again, the details around that really haven't been very clear or fully fleshed out, but that is certainly one area where Democrats think that could be a possible alternative to address Senator Sinema's concerns.
And turning our attention now to the January 6th insurrection, a new report cites people who planned the rally, saying several members of Congress and the Trump White House helped make the protests happen. How will that impact the ongoing investigations?
Well, there continue to be questions swirling around the committee as to whether or not they will ultimately subpoena lawmakers, some of their fellow colleagues. They have been reticent to say that at this point, but committee members have made clear that, no one is above the law and they will follow the facts where they lead. That being said, we did get a statement from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was one of the lawmakers mentioned in this report as potentially being involved in some of the planning, and her office made clear in a statement to us saying that while she objected or her office was focused on objecting the electoral results, she had nothing to do with these protests whatsoever. So we have not heard from some of the other lawmakers who were mentioned, but keep in mind some of them were at the rally that day, including Congressman Mo Brooks, who has faced a lot of heat over recent months, for his engagement at that rally, although he has defended his appearance, and you have other conservative lawmakers as well who reportedly were engaged in some of the planning. But again, we'll have to wait and see if we get more comment from these members this week, if they, acknowledge what their role may have been, if anything, or if they deny any involvement. But either way, the committee has pledged to try to get to the bottom of what happened. And it's worth pointing out that a lot of these organizers who were involved with the rally, who have already been subpoenaed, many of them are scheduled to give depositions this week.
And Nicole, according to that report, though, GOP Congressman Paul Gosar offered a blanket pardon to organizers. And then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows warned violence could break out. Does this give us a better sense of what the administration potentially knew about this event ahead of time?
Well, again, potentially, if in fact those facts bear out and that reporting is confirmed. I mean, we do know that Mark Meadows is one of those individuals that the committee has subpoenaed, that they have requested documents from him, that they want to hear from him. Up until now, they have said that he is engaging with the committee along with other former top Trump aides like Dan Scavino and Kash Patel. They were due to be deposed earlier this month, but those depositions were postponed, and we still haven't been given a clear indication as to whether they have been rescheduled. But certainly these are questions that the committee is likely to ask of the former White House Chief of Staff if, in fact, there's merit behind these reports.
Nicole Killion in Washington, thank you so much.